James Harden gone. He was going to anchor that team to the bottom of the ocean if he stayed there this year. He was such a distraction. If they were unable to trade him, he would have. The 76ers would not have been found.
Welcome back to the Old Bull and Young Calf Boston Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Matt, and I'm here with my dad, Steve. And today we're going to do some Celtics and Bruins talk. We have some thoughts on both of those teams. We're going to do a couple fun segments. My dad's going to let us know what's in store for you guys. Dad, take it away.
Yeah, so this week you can thank the Old Bull and Young Calf for jinxing our Celtics. They got knocked down a couple pegs with a few losses, but we're going to let you know what Coach Steve and what Coach Matt would do to get them back on track. Then with the Bruins, where Bruins remain on fire thanks to their defense and mostly Swayman. And what we want to talk about also is should he be treated like a number one goalie as opposed to splitting time with Olmark? So we'll touch on that. And then we have what we're going to do is a special segment where we're kind of basically naming our top 10 current Boston athletes. If we were the owner of all four teams and we can protect 10 players from the entire roster of Boston athletes, who would we take to start the core of each of our teams? And we give you that along with some of our viewers, their picks as well. And then, of course, number four, we have our betting segment. Our betting expert last week did really well. So see how he did in his picks and who he wants this week. And then we're going to ditch the 90-50-10 for a week, take a break from that. Thank you, Patriots, for being absolutely awful. What we're going to do is a fun little segment where we're going to have a random spinning wheel, pick NBA teams, and we're going to pick who we would field as the best possible team, one player from each of those teams, and see who we come up with. So, but before we get to those five things, our $50 gift card finally showed up. Thank you, United States Postal Service, for taking forever to get it to them. And yeah, we have a little video to show you. So let's hear from the winner.
Yeah, and who did it land to, Dad? Do you want to give a quick introduction?
It was Peter DiPadua, and apparently he got strong-armed by his teenage son Vinny, and now Vinny has the control.
Yes, and so Vinny has a couple things to share about my dad and I. So well, take it away, Vinny. Let us know the victory speech.
Matt sucks. Matt sucks. Matt sucks. Read is a fact. Read is a fact. Fan rules.
Show the card.
Why?
So you can see it.
No.
Show me the card.
Well, I don't know what I did to Vinny, but he really wanted to drive home the fact that Matt sucks.
Vinny is clearly brilliant because he knows what's going on. He knows that my son sucks and Steve rules. So he's clearly a fan of the show. He's a smart kid. And yeah, so hats off to Vinny, and clearly knows what he's talking about. So Vinny, what are you gonna do with the $50?
Yeah, I'm really curious. Maybe I should send him $50. Maybe we can change that narration a little bit. But yeah, what are you gonna do with this 50? Let's hear it, Vinny. Let's hear it.
How
I don't. Is that Booker's? He's going to the library. I hope it's not the other thing, but it definitely got pretty clear towards the end what that money's going towards. So.
And well, he is a teenager, and hey, kids get teenage boys, and he wants a hooker, and luckily he lives in Worcester. He can probably get a lot of hookers for a $50 gift card.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Vinny. I've been roasted. Thank you so much, Vinny, for participating in the podcast. Thank you for cheering us on, and Pete for joining and sharing. So hopefully we can have some more of these. I know, Dad, how do we get more giveaways? Do you want to remind them?
So, I mean, now you have proof that I do send these out. I give them away. All you need to do is get 20 shares on Facebook, and you don't have to say anything. 20 shares, and I'll do another drawing on the air.
There you go. And you too could get some hookers. So just don't let your dreams be memes. All right. So we'll close the chapter on that, and we will move on to our number one segment. And just to circle back, my dad talked about what we did to the Celtics last week with our 90-50-10s, right? We jinxed them, and they got knocked down a peg. And we're going to talk about what myself or my dad would do to kind of right the ship here. Now, I'll kind of lead off here. This past week did suck, and it felt like we kind of got a glimpse into some of the ways that we struggled in the playoffs last season, and in some games. And we thought we had kind of went over that hump, but I think we're still a victim of the Missoula curse. I think Joe Missoula, and I sent a very long text message to a lot of my friends who probably watch this podcast, is incredibly inept. And I think his lack of active timeouts and everything is just a big struggle. What I would do is I would find a way to write up or drop some plays and get some structure into this offense, and particularly get the right players going at the right times. And I think there's kind of like we fall into this trap where we forget that we have Porzingis, we forget that we have Drew Holiday, and some of those guys, and they end up stuck in the corner. So I would get them out of the corner. Scal touched on this in overtime of the what game did we go to overtime in? But Porzingis was phased out of the overtime for almost the first 2 or 3 minutes of it. And then finally we get him in the action and things start to get rolling, but it was almost too little too late at that point. I think we were down by almost 7. So I would remind the coaching staff who we have on this team, and I would let them know we got to start driving these Ferraris like Ferraris. We can't drive it like a Honda. Like there's no reason we should be running ISO ball at the end of games with this kind of roster and this starting 5. This is where we're strong, end of game. So I would encourage moving the ball. I would work on some after timeout plays, because when things do get messy at the end, I want to see more of those. And I would work on some action with Porzingis, because it seems like we're the gel that we thought we had in those first 5 games kind of fell away. Dad, what do you think? What would you do? What do you think about my suggestions first off?
So it's funny because I was going to touch on something like that as far as drawing up different plays. And so I completely agree with you. The timeouts still not good, but he has all season to keep working on those. At least he's trying to call some timeouts now.
He did do pretty good.
The other thing with the play,
early in the game,
yeah,
he called some
didn't do
pretty
too
good
bad.
timeouts.
Right, when you're supposed to, absolutely. So, but I'm not panicking yet, right? Again, there's still a lack of chemistry here. I hate the fact that we looked so good in the last 4 minutes of the game, the first 5 games of the year, in the close ones. And then all of a sudden we go back, we're like, oh, they look like last year. Well, what was the common denominator? They had Brown and Tatum handling the ball almost the entire time. What are you doing? You have 2 borderline elite point guards, Derek White and Holiday. Let them handle the ball. Let Brown, Porzingis, and Tatum set picks for each other, run around, get open, and then get the ball. Why are our 2 worst dribblers, ball handlers, handling the ball from the center line on? I don't understand that. They need to fix that. They need to come up with a way where they're not just picking Jaylen Brown's pocket. Because at some point, I'm going to stop blaming Brown. I'm going to start blaming Missoula in the scheme. Can we not run some double pick plays like Golden State does for Steph Curry, where they have him loop around? They have 2 guys setting picks for him, and he ends up open almost all the time. We can't do that for Brown. He's a deadly mid-range shooter, especially when he doesn't have to fade away. Let's just do that. Tatum's become a deadly mid-range shooter. Let's do that. Or if he's got enough room, if either one of them has enough room off the 2 picks, they can just take it to the hoop and stuff it in someone's face. And then you have Porzingis, one of the most lethal low post threats in the NBA. We don't do anything to set him up, like you said, Matt.
Nothing.
It was infuriating that he was invisible in those last 2 games. I'm not not that game, the game against
The
Minnesota,
Timberwolves. Yep.
where he showed you what he could do against the Sixers. He almost single-handedly carried us to a win there when Tatum and Brown were just
Yeah.
had bad nights. They were terrible. So, I mean, what I would do, like you, Matt, I would come up, get the ball out of Brown and Tatum's hands at the end of the game, put it in Holiday and White's, and maybe put them two and Porzingis, Tatum and Brown on the 3-point line, and draw the defense out to those guys and see
Yep.
what White and Holiday can do, drive into the hoop, drive and kick out if nothing's there. I mean, there's so many better options than, hey, just give it to Brown, give it to Tatum, and see what they can do with the ISO ball.
Yep.
And people get mad at those two, but what are you mad at those two for? They're not the coaches. The coach is supposed to draw up plays and supposed to call the plays. So,
Yep.
or supposed to be like, no, Tatum, you're not going to just pound the ball and then see if you can beat your guy one-on-one. We're going to set up a play. That's his job as the coach. Sorry. So that's what I would do.
Yeah, and I think I kind of got to eat some crow, right? In a way, right? In a way, because you mentioned how this year's 76ers, after that trade, is a better team than last year's. And I was like, no way, you're wrong. And I still think that I'm right, but I think you're right for a different reason. I think I think you were happy about the Harden removal and the addition of these, Batum, Covington.
I wasn't happy about it. I was disappointed. I wanted Harden to stay.
Exactly. But I think the biggest addition for the 76ers has been Nick Nurse. They got a capable NBA coach, and we do not have that. We do not have an NBA coach. We have just like an absolute scrub. And he proved it because he's afraid to get on the stage and sing, right? And he just lets everybody else do the work. When it comes to that end of that Timberwolves game, the fact that we are not calling a timeout there is absolutely insane. And the BS garbage about how you don't want a really good defense to get set, that's so stupid. We have the best starting lineup in the NBA. Draw up a play. And it's something, I mean, I wish I could get a statistic on this, how many times NBA teams call a timeout in that position, because it has to be somewhere in the 90%. Even Scal was calling for it. No timeout. And then we run down the court. Brown, it takes us, I think we only had like 10 seconds left on the clock. It took him 5 seconds to get up to the 3-point line. And then he has 5 seconds to decide what to do. It's so incredibly frustrating. And then when he is given the opportunity for the after timeout play, it flops. Horford ended up out of bounds on one. And then on the other one, Hauser throws up an air ball. So it's
and
tough,
then Brown
right?
gets stuck with a 3-pointer. Like 3 feet behind the line when it's a tie game. Like, could we get a 2-point easy layup or a dunk or a mid-range jumper? I mean, it's not Brown's fault. A timeout should have been called there. A play should have been called there. And if you want to get Brown the ball in crunch time, I don't got a problem with that. But let him shoot his strength. Let him shoot a mid-range jumper. Set up some picks for him. So, but another thing, I hate to say it because he had such a great preseason. I'm eating crow on this too.
Oh man,
Peyton Pritchard. I'm not. I'm almost ready. I'm this close, but they got to give that baton kid a chance. He's a lot longer. He's a better defender, and he cannot be worse than what Pritchard is. Pritchard is so bad right now. He cannot throw the ball in the ocean. He clearly has the yips now because now that the regular season started and these games count. I don't know what the heck happened. He was awesome in the preseason. They got to do something with that and start giving that kid some minutes. Start playing the other two guys, the Bissett and Stevens guy. Those guys are energy guys. We don't need our 4 stars on the floor at all times. It's almost a waste because there's only one basketball. So let's get those guys more involved. Let's keep our guys rested because, again, at the end of the year, I'm not worried. By the end of the year, I want them healthy, rested, and chemistry under their belt. If we don't end up with the number 1 seed, I don't care. Like you said, Matt, in the last segment. So I'm not panicking yet. Not to mention the refs in the last game in New York. I mean, not New York, Philly. Oh, my God.
awful.
I mean, it was just like football.
The Derek
it was
White
just
offensive foul. Like that should have been an
Oh,
offensive foul when Embiid runs over him.
on Embiid.
That was
Embiid
that
just
was
gets to bulldoze everybody.
yeah,
Just runs over everybody and
yeah.
nothing ever
The
gets
hanging
called.
on the rim
And I
of the
guess I'm that
Porzingis.
guy.
Yep. That was
Yeah.
garbage as well.
It not that when the Celtics guys don't even have the ball, the
Yeah.
holding, the tugging, the grabbing, the missed slapping at the ball. It's not football. You can't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Was that basketball fun to watch? It was not.
Yeah.
You're supposed to call those fouls so the other team defends legally, and now you get exciting basketball.
Yeah.
Guys have room. Guys can shoot up threes. They can dunk. They can drive to the hoop. No one could get open because everyone was
Yeah.
getting bear hugged for it. So,
Well,
but
I think
anyway,
yeah, I think we're both on a similar page, right? And the thing that we would change the most is that we'd bring more structure to the team. And in my opinion, if I was Brad Stevens, I would just remove Missoula from the equation and try and find the highest price coach. Like Van Gundy, I would just make Van Gundy the freaking coach. But hopefully the Celtics get it back on track. I'm going to the game tomorrow. I'll make sure to give Missoula a lot of advice from the upper deck. I'll be yelling down at him. So listen for me on the broadcast. And so we will move into the one team that seems impervious to jinxes, right? Knock on wood. The Boston
yeah,
Bruins. So like my dad mentioned, the Boston Bruins, even though they play on ice, are currently on fire. Their defense is not slacking. Swayman is really stepping up. Dad, do you want to share some of your thoughts on those Infuego Bruins?
yeah. Again, they won tonight. Coyle with a hat trick. That was nice to see.
Yeah. Screw you, Andrew.
So yeah, I have some breaking stats. You're gonna get so mad at me because it just seems like I want to be negative with the Bruins. I don't want to be, but we've been talking about how great their goaltending and defense is. Their defense, I think all of this start might solely lie on the goaltending because I looked at some numbers. I tried to find scoring chances given up per team. I couldn't find that. So what I was able to find that the Bruins are 17th in the league on shots on goal given up. That's a lot. That's going
Yeah.
towards the bottom half. 18th in block shots. They don't block a
That's
lot of
kind of soft.
shots. They're
That's kind of soft.
18th.
Yeah.
Rebounds given up 19th. I think this unbelievable goals against solely lies on the goaltending, which is my segue to, Allmark, Swayman, but Allmark's dipping a little bit. And Swayman, right now, he's the best goalie in the league. That's all there is to it. His
Wow.
numbers reflect
Yeah.
it. He is the best goalie in the league. He's young. So the question I propose to Matt is, I think we should start treating him like a number one goalie. Stop splitting games with Allmark. Do more of a 2-to-1, 3-to-1 ratio like other number one goalies do. They play 3 games, backup comes in for 1 game. He's young, he can handle it. It might be time. It might be that time for that kid to shine. And Allmark's slipping a little bit. So if we do want to move him, we don't want his stock dropping. There are teams that want goalies. That prediction I made about Edmonton hunting for a goalie and calling us, supposedly that happened. They were kicking the tires saying, hey, what can we do to get one of your goalies? And then I think the Canes goalie just went down from what I saw too. So we need Allmark's stock to stay up and give him the job, give him the number one job.
Yeah.
That's what I would
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. And I think this comes down to the coach stepping up and disrupting what is that kind of veteran young guy dynamic, right? Going against Olmark, I don't know how that kind of goes in the locker room, but I would love to see Swayman out there more. I think a lot of people were hoping Swayman would have played in the playoffs last year, and yeah, Olmark, it's I know you mentioned, it's like kind of a value contract, given what he's given us, but 5 million for a goalie is a lot. I don't know what Swayman would be up for, but I heard rumors that he wasn't too into staying around Boston, and I don't know if us offloading Olmark is going to make it a bit harder for us to sign him. I'm kind of nervous about that because like you said, he is bringing a lot to the table, and he's kind of that goalie that we've been waiting to turn into what this is. So I'm hoping he's the next big Bruins goalie, right? Because we drafted him, right? He's been here forever. And I'm hoping because so far so good, right? My buddy Tim, he's incredibly high on the Bruins, but overall, like on the offensive end, we've started to pick up the pace. 3.38 goals. The old Bull wants 3.75, which is absolutely elite offense, but the old Bull has to give a little bit of credit there. 3.38 goals a game. Come on. Come on. Yes, no.
3.5 I'm looking for. I'm
Three
reasonable, 3.5.
All right, 3.38. That's 0.12 off. My buddy Tim noted the speed that Zaka and Poitras are giving us up the middle, and I'm really excited for our offense. I really like the JVR guy. He's really kind of meshed, and I thought he was going to be so much older. There was a lot of jokes about him when he came on the team, but he's looking really good out there. I'm just overall really excited for how they looked against without McAvoy. Bringing McAvoy back, Lowry kind of getting the opportunity, kind of spread his wings. I wonder how that's going to shake out in the defensive lines. Where do they put him? Because he had his first goal this past week. Yeah, I think get Swayman those minutes. He's a young kid. See if we can move Olmark. It's tough making trades because once people know you're trying to trade something, that asset loses a ton of value. It does suck. Like if what you're saying is true, and the fact that we got calls about Olmark without us having to put him out there, and we didn't make an aggressive move there, kind of sucks. Because I would like to see them, ship him out and kind of give Swayman the reins, but we'll see.
I mean, Swayman, if he doesn't want to be here, it's probably because he's not getting started minutes and he deserves them. So that might be something. I didn't even hear that. That might be something to monitor. Shattenkirk's been better than I thought. Solid too on the defense. I don't want to see Lowry move down. I mean, my solution is get rid of Carlo, like again, rough game tonight. Gave up that first goal, just not covering his guy on the power play, and then he had another play that drove me insane. I can't remember, but I mean, but I did say I hope that chemistry gets built, and you only need two scoring lines. You only need two scoring lines, two good checking lines, great goaltending, good defense. That is the formula for a cup. I didn't like the fact that they feels like they demoted Patras and put Heinen with him. I'm like, oh, get that Heinen. Come on, man. Like that's the guy I don't want to see. I don't want to see Heinen. I don't want to see that. I want to get Lysol up here. Get someone else up here. Put him on that line with that kid in DeBrusque. But I'm being ridiculous being negative about the Bruins, but because
Yeah,
they're just awesome right now. They're similar to last year, even though they lost Bergeron. So I'm going to stay positive about them. I'm just kind of
yeah.
being nitpicky here, but yeah. So I mean,
Yeah, and I,
that's
I
just
did
some of the
look it
things
up,
we would do.
and I did look it up. The Swayman, it looks like a lot of the rumbling was around the time they were going through arbitration, and it seems like he's come around and said that he couldn't be happier at the Bruins. So hopefully he does want to stay because it'd be great to keep him here with us. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
those are our quick hitting Bruins thoughts. I mean, real quick, I'm just curious who they're going to be playing next week, before the next podcast. So they're playing Montreal.
Well,
I think you and I that's a tough game. Buffalo and then Montreal. So home and away with Montreal and Buffalo. Hopefully we take those. Any thoughts on those three games, Dad?
no, I mean, hey, you almost got your 10% right. They almost went undefeated on those four
Yeah,
games that McAvoy was out. So they get him back too. And unfortunately, they're probably going to demote Lowry when he gets back.
we'll
So
see.
four bats back. He's back. So
Forwards,
I
yeah,
don't know.
forwards like a
I
plus
like the
seven.
youth movement. I mean, I like the youth movement. I really wish they would kind of stick with it. So
Yep.
but I mean, a lot to look forward to with the Bruins. They've been a really pleasant surprise after the players they lost.
Yep. Lighter week next week. So hopefully we have some more good news and they stay on track and they whoop the Canadians. But yeah, so I'm sure we'll touch on them next week. So we'll move on to number three. And number three, we wanted to hear the voice of the people here. So my dad kind of laid out the ground. So I do apologize. Some people I didn't give the exact verbiage that my dad is going to explain here. But we're just kind of went over loosely the top 10 players in Boston. But Dad, do you want to give the exact verbiage of what we were trying to do here?
Really, what I want to do is pretend you own all 4 of the Boston teams, and you get to select 10 current players that you could protect to start a base and try to make all 4 teams competitive. I mean, that's really what we're looking for here. So it feels like people didn't get that. Some went for potential players who are young, promising now. I'm talking about, are you trying to build 4 championships, take the 10 top players in Boston, who would you select? And then, worry about the pool of players that you're picking after that.
Yeah.
So, and then put them in the order of what you feel is how good they are compared to, their rivals, from the other sports. So, as you can see up here, we have, people who wrote in on Facebook. The top 10s are pretty similar. There are some surprises on there. We have Tim, who's clearly a Bruins fan. A lot of Bruins guys on there.
Drew as well. My buddy Drew is a
Drew,
huge Bruins fan.
yeah, but a lot of Bruins love there as well, as I could see.
He has like the first 3
He's like
lines of the
F
Bruins
you,
there. Yeah.
yeah. He's like F you, Red Sox and Patriots. Okay. Kevin Tame Jr. Writes for Sports Illustrated, actually. Nice little list there. Gonzalez. I probably didn't explain that great. I think he's going to be great, but I mean, if you're taking him now, like as a rookie or a second-year player, I think he's probably about 3-4 years away from being a true lockdown corner. Some other surprises there. Bello, Yoshida, a lot of Red Sox. He's the first one with some Red Sox. Dev is there too. Michael Thomas, I used to draft you in fantasy football. You were great until you got injured. And then we have, he's got a decent little list there too. Patra at the end. Okay, again, for the future, definitely taking him. But I don't know. Right now, trying to build a championship, team now, I'm not sure I would go with him top 10. Vic Anthony, another friend on Facebook. Yeah, pretty good diverse list there.
Yeah.
Yoshida, man, Yoshida's getting the love. I think he's good. I mean, you'll see my top 10. I'm not going to have him there. Oh my God, but I think that's top 5 is super solid. And then Dan, our buddy Dan, yeah, that's a good looking list right there. That's close to maybe my favorite out of all these. So
Yeah.
yeah, pretty good looking
yeah.
list.
And I think one of the reasons my dad wanted this segment was he talked about who's the king of Boston sports right now, and people are almost unanimously saying Jason Tatum, right? And that's not what we phrased to these people, our buddies. But it looks like they kind of gave the crown in a lot of ways to Jason Tatum. So my buddy Drew, I think he went for legacy here, and based on legacy, I think he hit the nail on the head. I think Marchand. It's really hard to argue that he's not the greatest player currently playing for Boston sports,
Sure.
considering he won us a cup. He brought us to 2 other cups, and now he's our team captain, and he's still producing. So, I don't want to knock Drew too much for that, Marchand. I think the only egregious thing here is my buddy Dan putting Holiday over Derek White. The fact that you've had Holiday for 5 games, 7 games, and you got the Buffalo. You got to move the Buffalo up there. I really did like all the other lists. McAvoy, Swayman. Again, Tim is super high up on Swayman, and I think we just touched on that last segment. I'm really excited about them.
Yeah.
And I do feel a little bit bummed out because my list is the Patriots and the Red Sox really had a hard time squeaking in. And
Don't preference it.
Yeah.
Compare us
I
how
gotta.
crappy your list is. Don't preference it. We want to experience it in real time how awful your list is. So
listen,
yeah,
Michael Thomas,
don't.
Vic Anthony, Kevin, I appreciate you guys. I don't know you guys. Don't hate me after this is all I'm saying. Don't hate me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All of this is up for debate because the goat of all goats behind me, 12th episode for number 12, Tom Brady is not here anymore. So it's up for a debate, even though it looks like Tatum he is the top dog right now. So all right, Matt. So who do you got at 10?
So number one, just to preface, nobody knows what the freaking like guidelines of this list were except for my dad because he explained them about 7 different ways, right? So, so it like
Mhm.
it
Well, that's
mine
why
might
my
sound
list is
crazy.
right and everyone
Yeah,
else's is wrong. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, here's something that's gonna grind your gears. Patras. Patras is my number 10. I think if I was to draft, like you said, the team right now, the player on the player I think I'd want to see the most right now is Patra. I think he kind of fits similar to that Gonzalez role. I know you mentioned he's a rookie, he's young, but from a viewer standpoint, and gets me watching games, gets me enjoying games, gives me excitement for the future. Patra's on that list. I gotta have him there.
Okay.
What do you got?
All right. So my number 10. Well, I go with Holiday.
Holiday,
Number
the
10 for
Brew.
Holiday. Oh yeah. All-star. Yep.
Now would
Champion.
be
He's a
yeah.
champion too.
You know what would be great is if you could call Joe Mazzulla and let him know that Drew Holiday plays for the Celtics, because then maybe we can start
That's
using him in some plays. You know?
it's a great idea. I'm gonna text
Yeah.
him. So who do you get at number 9?
Swayman, number 9, the 24-year-old goalie phenom coming into his own. You know, hopefully we don't have to sign him to too big of a contract. Hopefully we can retain him. That's my number 9. Who do you got?
Can you see? Can you like see through my camera? I have Swayman, number
There
9.
you go. Yeah.
Huh. All right. Not too shabby. Who do you get at number
Uh,
8?
Number 8, I have Holiday. I'm a big Celtics and Bruins guy right now. Probably would have been a good spot for a Patriot, or a Red Sox player, but I'm big on Holiday, so he's my number 8.
They have the most talent, so it's natural for us to be that way. And I have number 8 at Porzingis,
Porzingis, and
making
I'm
a
telling
difference
you,
already.
yeah, healthy Porzingis is so dangerous, so dangerous. I
I
mean,
just wish
it's
you know what? He is a super skilled finesse player. He does not have an edge though. Man, imagine
yeah,
if that guy had an edge, played with some aggression. That would be great. But that's not him. So what are you gonna do? But the length, the size, the finesse, the skill. Hey, take what you can get.
yep. And so my number 7 was actually going to be my number 1 if it included legacy, right, and kind of what they mean to
Yeah.
Boston. But my number 7, Marchand. Whoops.
Mhm.
Ooh,
No,
Marchand. What do
not a
you
bad
got?
pick. Not a
Yeah, what
bad
do you
pick.
got?
I got Charlie. I got McAvoy. Number 1 defenseman. Those are hard to come by. You need those if you're going to win a cup. And he is probably about the fifth best defenseman in the league, somewhere around
Yeah.
there.
This next one, I don't even know. Maybe he shouldn't even be in the top 10. But I just love him. He's like I think almost the perfect basketball player. So I'm gonna go Derek White for number 6. I think he brings more to the table. He's a younger version of Holiday. He's very brings the defense. If we win Game 7 of that Heat series last year and we go on to win the championship, that layup offensive rebound in Game 6 would have been, I think, possibly the greatest shot in Celtics history. So yeah, Derek White number 6.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if I dropped you on your head. Did
Yeah,
I
no.
drop you on your head? What is
Why? What do you
wrong
got?
with you? Derek,
What?
right? No, well,
Derek
oh,
White.
what are you mad at me? You
Yeah.
mad at me? You want to punch me in the face. You want go ahead, punch me in the face.
Spacey. You know what I'm saying? What's up with you, man? What you looking at, Kimasabi? You want to punch me right now? You want to punch me right now, but you won't. You want to punch me too, Brennan? You guys both look like you might want to hit me in the face. You do, I can tell. Well, why don't you do it? Why don't you punch me in the face? Punch me in the face!
Weirdo.
Listen,
Derek
I'm telling
White.
you,
Get out of here with that garbage.
you saw how the Timberwolves games we desperately missed Derek White, and the only reason we lost last game is because we didn't get Derek White involved even more. He's the only one that can hit an open 3 right now, and he hits the contested threes. You're out of your
I
mind
love
if you think
Derek White. I
yeah.
love Derek White. I don't think
Yeah.
he's in the top 10. But anyway, number 6 for me is Devers. He is the only legitimate star we have really on. And I was this close to putting Bello in. But again, if he had, because I think he's going to be a number 2 next year starter and a true ace in his third year. So I had him at number 10, then I gave him the boot because next year I don't think he's going to be ace material yet. So I'm going with Devers.
So I will say this. I did switch back and forth a few on number 6. I considered Gonzalez there. I considered Devers there. But ultimately I was just like, man, the Red Sox are just too far off of mine. I was too excited about the other teams. So yeah, my number 5 is the unicorn, Porzingis. We touched on him already. I think he brings so much to the team. Exciting player.
Yeah, no, the skill is there. You can't argue with that. Number 5 for me is Judon. Judon, and spoiler alert, he's going to be the only Patriot because he's the only difference maker on that team. Out of 53 roster spots, one guy makes a list. That is so bad. I mean, Christian Gonzalez has another year under his belt. You know, he's probably going to be definitely on this list. But as of right now, that's how sad and sorry the state of the Patriots is. Judon, our lone representative.
So this might be controversial. This probably get me in trouble with Patriots fans, but Judon to me is so overrated. He almost never shows up when we need him the most. When we were actually in the running for the playoffs, and this is where maybe I'm gonna call Situ. Maybe you got dropped on your head because I don't think you remember the last he had almost 10 or so sacks. He was in the running for the defensive player of the year a couple years
No.
ago, and then he just fell off the face of the earth because of a shoulder injury or something like that. And that's when we needed him the most. This guy has not showed up when it mattered for the New England Patriots. He was on the teams where the freaking Bills didn't punt on us for 3 or 4 games. You're telling me he couldn't have made a play on third down one time? And that's why he doesn't
Man,
deserve to be on that list. So no. You were fishing for a Patriot here, and that's wrong. He should not be up there. No way.
What
No
ends
way.
up happening by the end of the year, the book is out oh, the only one we have to double is Judon. So that's what teams do. They double him. And because we lack talent, there's nobody else to pick up the slack usually. Uche was a decent pass rusher last year. So, you know, we were decent on
Uche,
defense last
come
year,
on.
but really, you know,
No, you're high there. We'll move on. We'll move on. My number 4, I think you have this guy way too low. Is McAvoy. Like you said, top, first line defenseman. I think he's the first line defenseman on pretty much any team in the NHL. He's young. He's under contract. He's kind of everything you want in a defenseman. He learned under Chara. I think we got to be way high on McAvoy. I think he's the next Bruins captain, possibly when Marchand leaves. So yeah.
Okay. Not arguing there. Number 4 for me is Marchand. Marchand, super skilled, Stanley Cup winner, the captain, really good still really
Yep.
good, really skilled. So number 4 for me.
All right. And here's where we're gonna have the same 3 players, right? So let's see where these 3 players.
Oh yeah, it looks like we do.
Yeah. And if we don't,
Unless I dropped you on your head twice,
no.
and you have another
All right,
really
let's
big
agree to
screw up
something.
here. We'll
Let's
see.
agree to something. If we don't have
Okay.
the same 3 pairs here, whoever doesn't have the 3 that I have, it's dropped on their head. So we're gonna go like this. Jaylen Brown, number 3.
That's where I got him. I got him.
All right.
I got him too. Number 3. Wow.
Listen, if
obviously-
you're out there, you're a Jaylen Brown hater, you just don't know basketball. I know he has, a trouble with his left, but that guy has been here with us. I remember his first real series against LeBron when he had the flat top, and we were just like,
Yeah, oh yeah.
who is this
Yeah.
kid? Why has he not been playing all year? We ended up losing that series,
Yeah.
but it was just like, that's what we have waiting for us. I can't wait. And he gave us excitement, and he hasn't stopped. I'm such a huge
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown fan. I love that guy. I'll run through a wall for him. Any comments on JB?
And don't forget, Jaylen Brown showed up for the championship against Golden State. He was
Yep.
by far our best player, and he showed up when it was money time. And Tatum didn't. So, and no, his handle Unfortunately, he didn't work on it. It still stinks. It does. But again,
Stinks. It's
at,
not elite, but it's
at what point is that not on Missoula? Get the ball out of his hands.
yep.
Get him the ball. Get him
In
moving
movement.
off the ball
Yes, exactly.
because he's great at driving to the hoop. He's great at mid-range jumpers. When he has a wide open three,
Jumps over
he's
everybody,
fine there.
Yep.
Stop letting him dribble. There are ways to get him the ball without
Yep.
him having to dribble to a spot and get his
Yep.
pocket picked. So,
Yep.
yep, I'm with
All right.
Sean Brown.
All right. Next up, for me, Pasternak. He
The pasta.
the Rocket almost got the Rocket last year. My biggest gripe with him is, he doesn't really. He was on the team that I
Playoffs.
think his playoffs aren't there.
Yeah,
He was on the team that,
he struggles.
he fumbled. I think the most sure Stanley Cup win I will ever have in my life. I was waiting at the parade when we got against the Blues and we choked that series
Yeah,
away. And he was absolutely invisible in that final series. So
completely.
yeah, I mean
Yeah,
he's the second guy and I'm ripping on him. I love Pasternak.
I know.
I wish he would, show up in those big games, but yeah, big super high on Pasternak. Pasternak's number 2.
Number 2 for me also, Pasternak. I
Yeah.
keep waiting for him to have his Ovechkin moment, his Ovechkin year, where he's just a man on a mission and he won't be stopped. I'm hoping that's coming up this year. So we'll see, but he does tend to disappear in the playoffs when teams pay more attention to him. They do the game plan and things. They put the line they want on against them when they're at home, or they just make sure that the particular defenseman that can shadow him's out there. He's got to break through that. I agree with you, but he is
Yep.
still awesome.
Yep.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I'll fill in your number 1 for you, Brandon Carlo. My dad is a huge Brandon Carlo guy. And so I will say this.
Mm.
My buddy Andrew wanted me to remind you that Brandon Carlo has not had has never finished the season
Good
with a
play.
negative plus minus. I shouldn't have paused there. You got me. But yeah, no. Of course we King of the Castle, Jason Tatum.
Get you the gusto.
Yes.
Yes.
I think it does suck, right? Because in my childhood I grew up with just champions left and right. It was every season we were in the running. David Ortiz, Tom Brady, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett when he was here. So
Oh
many
yeah.
Red Sox.
Spoiled brats. All of
Yep,
you millennials.
Bergeron,
Spoiled
Chalk,
brats.
just like we almost had like a Mount Rushmore of active generational talent here in Boston
Big
for a while. So,
Poppy,
yeah,
Pedro,
yeah.
Pedroia. You
And
guys
list
were
goes on and
so
on.
damn spoiled.
Edelman,
Yeah.
Gronkowski. I mean, we could go on forever. And
Yeah.
now we're kind of in the bargain bin right now. We do have some great talent here, but these guys really haven't written their story and permanent in time like the other guys have. So hopefully they do that over the next coming year. A lot of these guys are young. A lot of the top of our list I think are under. Pretty much everyone on the top list under 27, right? 27 or under.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that these teams can do. Hopefully we can bring a championship home. So have some deep playoff runs soon. But just quick before we move on to the next segment, it looks like I Tim and Dan's I think are the ones that I like the most. I think that Olmark is a bit high on Dan's, and Swayman maybe a little bit high on Tim's in the bottom couple for Tim, but overall very similar to mine. And I think you and I we matched up pretty darn close on ours. So yeah, it was a
I
good list.
yeah, to me, Kevin has just too many Red Sox. To me, Michael and Dan, they're battling for second and third behind the obvious winner, me. So
Yeah,
I
no,
do
not even
like their
close.
list. And, we got Matt bringing up the rear,
Yeah.
making everyone feel good. So, all right. Good
Yeah.
job.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I appreciate everybody writing in. I love see all the different insight into this stuff. We're all fans at the end of the day, and opinions are like noses, right? We all have them. It is really not much you can say about somebody else's, but it's nice. It's nice.
Some are bigger than others.
Yeah, both of ours are bigger.
Noses
Yeah,
pretty
but
big.
yeah, fun segment. And now we'll move on to the bets. So, Dad, real quick, how did you do last week?
So he put in 4 picks. He won his lock of the week, and he went 3-1. So anyone
Yeah.
who went with our betting expert Anthony Wilger cashed in last week, 3-1, and let's see who he has this week.
All right, take it away, Anthony.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another week of Wilgs Basement Bets. Hit the lock last week, so started out good. Again, lost it in some extra plays there, so got a little excited, got carried away, and I think we ended up kind of even there. Gonna open up with the lock. Lions -3 at Chargers. Like how the Lions been looking. Chargers just played short rest. Making a video. Short rest for them. Lions going to come out. I think they're going to show who they really are here. Next one, Seahawks -6.5 versus the Commanders. Commies coming off a big win against the Patriots. Seahawks, bad loss last week. I think they bounce back and cover easily here. Other play, Titans +1 at the Bucks. I feel like I've been fading the Bucks every single week. Titans have been coming together. I like how Will Levis has been playing. So I like them to cover that +1 there. And then last one, Vikings +2.5 at the Saints. Just not a big fan on the Saints. Vikings really coming together after that Kirk Cousins injury. I like them getting 2.5 here and covering that spread. So let's win some money this week, and I'll see you all next week. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Anthony. Again, I mean, if you're missing out at this point, I think he's lost like 1 pick in the last few weeks. If you're not betting on these games, reach out to Anthony. I think he's on Twitter, WilgsBasementBets. And I think he maybe find you some action there if you're looking for some betting. So yeah, thanks, Anthony. Crossing our fingers for you. Keep making us look good over there, buddy. And we will move on to number 5. So like my dad said, we're going to table the 90-50-10. We got to get creative with this. And one thing that I've seen on like Instagram, YouTube shorts and everything like that, people like to use the randomizer. The randomizer will pick any NBA team. You have a starting 5 that you're trying to fill the roster of. And we're just going to have my dad go ahead and then we're going to switch. So we're going to do my dad and we're going to spin this wheel 5 times. My dad's going to take 5 players, 1 from each of the teams that the spinning wheel touch, and he's going to try and make the best roster possible. And then I'm going to do it. So we're going to run through this very quickly. So kind of share my screen. And all right, so 1 second.
And we're going to go by positions too. So
Yeah,
we can play with small forward, power forward, but if a guy is a center, can't put him at small forward. Guy's a point guard, can't put him at shooting guard.
All right, so here we go. We're going to spin it, and let's see what team my dad has to pick.
Pick quick, real quick. Brooklyn Nets. You got Matt.
What's that?
Brooklyn Nets. Who you got?
No, that's yours. These are your 5.
I'm up.
Yeah.
All right. Bridges.
All right.
Bridges is small forward.
Your Bridges. Everyone knows Bridges. All right.
Yeah.
Eliminate, and we're going to spin it again. Oh man, this is a tough team. What do you got?
That's going to be Trey.
Yeah, Trey. Yeah, Trey Young. All right. I thought you were going to Jawante. Jawante is pretty good himself. Better defender too.
Yeah.
Oh, the Spurs.
No. Wembanyama.
No, you're killing me. I'm going to do Wemby. I'm not going to try and spell that. Spell that name
Get that
exactly right. All right.
Denver, perfect. Jokic, power forward.
Okay. The Joker.
There's no way your team's beating mine. Not even
dude.
close.
As long as I get Grant Williams on my team, Batman, he'll
end up with Gordon Hayward on your team.
Pacers. I know a really good one for that.
Oh, Halliburton.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good team.
Solid
that's a good team. All right, let's see.
All right, let's see who you got, Matt.
Come on, my team's gonna beat this team. Let's go.
No
Oh.
way.
PG. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna go with what am I doing here? I guess I'm gonna take Bridges again. Bridges. Frick.
Spinny wheel letting us down.
Oh, almost landed on the freaking Hawks again. Cavaliers.
I
I'm
know,
gonna go
right?
Mitchell.
Okay, yeah.
And Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
Eliminate.
I still would take him over Garland. Yeah.
He can just go off. Blazers. Oh man. Oh.
You're gonna put Brogdon at point guard.
No,
He's
no,
literally
no, no.
that's the best you could do. You're gonna put
I'm
Dayton
I'm
or Aiton?
dominating.
What?
Dominating is what they call him. Oh, this is looking rough.
Game over.
Come
Game
on.
over.
Clippers? James Harden, right? No. I'm gonna go Kawhi.
If you
Power
want,
forward.
Kawhi, power forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not gonna go
Your
Harden.
team's getting
All right, can I
absolutely
please get the
toasted.
Warriors? Can I please get the Warriors?
I put Anthony Edwards
Yeah,
there.
Edwards. Yeah, I don't know everybody. I think I gotta give
Yeah,
that to
you
my
don't know,
dad.
huh?
Yeah, I gotta give that to my dad. So, dominate, and what a horrible, horrible set of players there. So, yeah, thanks for playing that game with us, everybody, and I think that'll kind of close the book on this pretty long podcast. We had a lot of content here. Thanks for everybody who joined us. It was a lot of fun. Any closing thoughts, Dad?
Just remember, again, if you want to skip a segment, we put the times in there. You're not a huge Bruins guy, just listen to the Celtics ones. You just want to come on to hear what the bets are, jump to the betting segment. So you don't have to listen to the whole thing. We would love you to, but that's why we put the times in there. And please share it on Facebook. Share, share, share. I'll give away another gift card. We'll have another Vinny video. It's not going to be as good as that one, I can guarantee it. But
I might have to pay for this
so
next one. If it goes to Vinny, I might have to do it because then I need to get him on my side. It might be $100 card, so I can't be roasted again. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you have a good rest of your night.
I don't know, where to begin. We are North Americans and